The irony of London Bridge. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Obvious, and today on 4chan.org. So, we have a story here today that's going to talk about irony. It's the irony of wokeness, the irony of progressivism, and the irony of people who advocate for more diversity, more immigration, and woke policies that have real-world consequences. Most of you have heard of the London Bridge attack. Most of you are filled in. What we're going to talk about today is one of the victims of this tragedy and discuss how this could have been prevented. Now, here we see a picture. Alba Rising says, the master thesis of the guy who was stabbed to death by a Muslim yesterday. You can see his master thesis. His name was Jack Merritt. A critical analysis of the overrepresentation of black, Asian, and minority ethnic males aged 18 to 21 in the British prison system. So this was a woke person. They were in Cambridge, and they believed that there was too many. And when they say Asian, they don't mean Asian, they mean Middle Eastern. Apparently in Europe, you don't call them Middle Eastern, you say Asian. I don't know why they do this. It feels disingenuous, but that's how it is. So this is his woke paper, his thesis, and he's saying, oh, there's too many of these people in prison. Probably advocated that they should be released, or that less people should go to prison. However, there's irony in this tale on 5 different levels, on several different levels, and I think it's important to talk about. Now, what is this irony? Well, it's pretty simple. People like this do not believe that if you are of a certain skin color that you should go to jail, even if you commit a crime. People like this are woke. They drank the woke Kool-Aid, and they truly believe that there's prejudice in the system. Now, I gotta tell you, my friends, the Brits are some of the wokest, softest, biggest pansies I've ever seen. If someone goes to jail in the UK and Europe, I would say that they deserve it, because their system is not as strict as, say, America's prison system. We put people to jail for crossing the street. So yeah, this is a tragedy to be sure, but when one of the victims of this event was a victim by his own doing, he advocated for such policies, for letting people outside of prison early. Now there's a problem with that, and there's a reason I say it's irony. Now this is the attacker, this is the one who stabbed. I will not show his face. I'm not even going to utter his name. He doesn't deserve it. In 2012, he was sentenced for terrorism for 8 years. And then after that, he was released. He was released 8 years later on a license. And one of the first thing he did was go to the London Bridge, and he killed 2 people. One of which was Jack Merritt. Now, Jack Merritt said there's overrepresentation of Asian people in prison. He would advocate that they shouldn't go to prison, and that they should be released. Well, here's an example of that ideology. Here's an example of that practice, and this is how it ended. It took his own life. What is that but irony? Here Annan says, oh no, no, no. David Merritt. Now this is Jack Merritt's father. This is what he had to say. In 2017 he said, going to see my son in Bristol at the weekend. He loves its diversity, like most young people do. He's the future. Racist angry wanks is the past. Yeah, so you can see that he got his wokeness from his father. Now, this is a tale as old as time. You see this happen time and time again. People who love wokeness, people who celebrate diversity, people who basically are brainwashed, people who advocate for mass, unfettered immigration, no matter the consequences, no matter the speed. Now, I'm not saying immigration is bad. However, I am saying that, well, I'm not a proponent. I believe we should only take smart immigrants, educated immigrants, physicists, scientists, doctors. I do not believe in what Europe is doing. It's interesting to see how the wokeness seems to run in the family. In fact, you could almost blame Jack's wokeness on his father. And what disgusts me the most is that David had the gall to say this. My son Jack, who was killed in this attack, would not wish for his death to be used as the pretext for more draconian sentences for detaining people unnecessarily. Rest in peace, Jack. You were a beautiful spirit who always took the side of the underdog. Okay, so the father is clearly delusional. My son wouldn't want this to be used as an excuse to detain people. Dude, he was killed. What the fuck is wrong with you? Who are you? How deep are you in the woke Kool-Aid? What is wrong with you? This is what I see with these woke people every single time. No matter what happens, no matter what the consequences of the policies they vote for happen, they don't learn their lesson. They never learn their lesson, ever. It's just sad. It's just sad to see. The irony of wokeness is that wokeness causes your country problems, and even if someone gets killed, you do not realize it. If the UK took in 0 immigrants and 0 refugees, this would have never happened, because there would be no one to make it happen, because they have isolationist policy. I'm not saying we should cancel all immigration. I just think we need to choose better security checks, better protection. These attacks never happened before, but ever since the UK got woke, they've been going broke. Here, Annan has a good point. It's amazing how he doesn't think, maybe my son was wrong, and instead doubles down on his and his son's beliefs. And this is the irony of wokeness. This is the irony of leftist stupidity. Even when they are wrong, they just can't realize it. Even when the truth is right in front of their face, they've been demoralized. Even if you show them the consequences of liberal and leftist policies, they will refuse to believe it. Even if you show them internment camp, they can't see it. They won't understand until the communist boot is on their thick heads. Then they will understand. I'm quoting Yuri here. He talked about this. Annan says, honestly, at what point do these idiots admit there's a fundamental problem? Now here's a post. We're going to analyze it. We're going to see what it says. And then we're going to finish this video. Essence of the NPC. The NPC meme is so effective because it strikes at a key aspect of normal human functioning, and these people apparently lack pattern recognition. See picture related. This is the last chapter of Book 2 of Aristotle's Posterior Analytics. The NPC meme is so effective because it strikes at a key aspect of normal human functioning that these people apparently lack pattern recognition. See pic related. The short and sweet version is that all the knowledge must be derived from sense perception. We aren't born with knowledge, and so perception and induction are how we formulate basic principles of science/reality ourselves. The process involves extracting the universal attribute out of a series of experiences or memories, and the most universal attributes are extracted first. Wit describes the speed in which someone can grasp the universal. Aristotle compares the process to an army that has been routed, but one soldier takes to make a stand, and then another and another until the formation has been restored. This formation is rational, logical set of conclusions. However, this is where the problem arises. Humans fall into this latter category of animals that can retain sense perception and further systemize them, i.e. learn. It is the ability to discern the abstract universal truth from a given set of experiences, to generalize, to discriminate, if you will. The starting point of knowledge is noticing patterns and differences, but the NPC has lost this capacity, either willfully or from a life of training. Seeing patterns and generalizing now has all sorts of labels ending in phobia and ism. Having a discriminating mind used to be a good thing. Being a discriminating shopper was a compliment. But we only mean discrimination based on sex, race, national origin, skin color, gender orientation, age, job, occupation, etc. The list continues to grow, and the definition of many of these things is becoming obscured. The process of discrimination is so fundamental that it cannot be arbitrarily switched on and off. The only way not to be phobists or ists, shitlords, is to kill the part of your brain that wants to discriminate. A full shutdown of your brain's difference engine is required to avoid unacceptable conclusions. To use the soldier analogy from earlier, instead of a rout, the NPC army has been ordered to retreat, and any soldier that turns around to make a stand is shot on the assumption that he's a traitor. It leaves the NPC incapable of learning or reaching logical conclusions. They can't grasp the basic fundamental truths of the world around them, so any reasoning done will be flawed. However, the brain doesn't like being left in this eternal state of logical limbo. It wants to order the world around itself. It wants to put these things into boxes and label them, but it is specifically trained not to do this, leading to a great deal of discomfort. It leaves the brain craving a structure to judge the world with. The solution? The structure is provided to them. They are programmed by authority figures in media with fundamental logic they use to view the world. Their many contradictory positions are because their viewpoint is contrived, not derived, and it is also why their positions can seemingly 180 multiple times in a couple weeks. Take, for example, the struggle-snuggle gangs in the UK, or the struggle-snuggle statistics in the US, or gun violence in the US. A rational, fully functioning mind would see the 10th report in a week about a new struggle-snuggle gang run by an Asian person, and he'd extract that one particular type of man was committing these crimes disproportionately. But the NPC brain sees these and only extracts up to the limit it is allowed, and through the filter it has been given. The NPC will see that men are sexually assaulting children in the UK, ergo, toxic masculinity is the problem. Only the partial universal is extracted, so the conclusion is fundamentally flawed. One of the most glaring particular instances of this happening recently was Molly Tidbits, the girl in Iowa murdered by an illegal. You would also think of the South African couple in a similar situation. What kind of lunacy would cause a father to go out and advocate for the very people that just murdered his daughter? The kind of person that can't learn. We identified threats by abstracting present and past injuries into the future to prevent them. If you can't learn from your experiences, you will never accurately identify threats. You'll see the player character saving his game and applying all of his buffs, but until he hacks you to bits, you'll keep pathing. To paraphrase Yuri Bezanov, their brains are so devastated and trained that they won't see the truth, even if it is right in front of their eyes, until they are in harm's way. This is why the NPC meme is so fitting. They lack a quality that lies at the foundation of the human experience. It's why they seem so devoid of a soul. It's why you feel like you have to have the same interactions with dozens of different people. They're all running the same program, and they will continue to run this until a new program has been entered by Rachel Maddow or Facebook. Nothing you say or do will change the program. Nothing they see or experience in real life, like the bomb at the Ariana Grande concert, changed the program. But how do we change these creatures from NPCs into people? The answer is something we've always known. It's the red pill. It's why the red pill is irreversible. Going back to the army analogy, it is convincing the army in the NPC's head to not shoot that one soldier that turns around. It only takes one, because as soon as he's allowed to live, as soon as a fundamental reality is no longer an enemy, the process has begun. By its sheer existence, the single soldier will draw others, and bugs in their code will be made apparent. The brain will take over and begin to self-repair. Remember that the next time you talk to an NPC. The goal isn't to yell at them. The goal is to break their code just a little bit. The rest is inevitable. P.S. This is also why the left can't meme. They can't imagine others being able to understand something without an explicit explanation. Lefty memes have walls of text, worse than Ben Garrison cartoons, because they still can't abstract concepts from things. But that, my friends, is merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. If you want to support the work I do, you can join me on Patreon or Subscribestar. Links are in the description. You can also donate on PayPal or through Bitcoin if you're interested. And sharing the video out is a nice way to help the channel. As always, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.